Welcome to another episode of Alaskan Babble podcast where they babble and we gaggle. Today we are joined by Stacey Reinman, an app developer for Quickie.
Kwippe.
Kwippe! Kwippe, the app developing company.
Well, Kwippe is actually the app.
Kwippe is the app. And tell me
Yes.
a little bit more about Kwippe.
Okay, well, Kwippe was formerly an app that worked on kind of giving you a graphic selection, an icon creator.
Mhm.
We used some algorithms that help to colorize black and white art, which was kind of
Interesting.
novel. About 10 years ago, we developed that.
Okay. I've actually seen this online before, something similar to that.
Yeah,
It's where they
cool.
do photo restorations
Oh, uh-huh.
of old photos. Is it something similar to that where...
A little bit, but we dealt in vector art. So we took the kind of art that you can scale to the size of a building. It'll still look really crisp and clear.
Mhm.
And we have kind of a special method, our special sauce that colorizes it and gives you options. So we could take one icon that's black and white and turn it into like 20 variations.
Okay.
Works really nice with flowers, because you can colorize those just beautifully.
Mhm.
So that was something that we did kind of a while ago. And I have 3 kids. So, the pandemic and having kids and high school and all this didn't really end up doing a lot with it.
Okay.
But the URL is a great URL, kwippe.com, KWIPPE
.com.
.com. And as I went all in on AI last summer, I mean, I realized last summer this is unstoppable.
AI.
Yes, the things that are going on in coding and
Mhm.
in programming and AI, it's just been kind of turned on its head. I don't really know how much longer human programmers are going to be needed.
No kidding.
I am serious. It's scary, when ChatGPT first dropped a few years ago and we were all able to kind of like start using it to get help. Because I mean, programmers always get help in their code.
Sure, of course.
You go online, you go like, oh man, I don't know how to quite do this. I don't know how to connect this to an authorization form, or I don't know how to make this style align with what I'm trying to achieve.
Mhm.
Um, Stack Overflow, GitHub,
Yep,
places like that
the
are the
classics.
yeah, that's where we've been searching for years. And when I saw that ChatGPT could answer a lot of the stuff, not all of it, but what you noticed a couple years ago was, boy, does this thing make mistakes. So
Right.
for every one piece of code it would give you that was pretty darn good, it would give you something else that was just hallucinated.
Yeah.
Like a method, like if you have dot turn Tyken, right?
Yeah,
Tyken, yeah,
Tycoon.
turn Tyken red, turn Tyken blue. If I have two methods, dot turn Tyken red and dot turn Tyken blue, the bot, or the ChatGPT would assume that turn Tyken purple exists. It just
Interesting.
assumes it. It just extrapolates it. It just says, well, this is logical because it's a probabilistic model. It works on logic of what should be there,
Mhm.
but that's not true.
So there's no adaptation previously with ChatGPT. That's what I'm kind of understanding here.
Well, what it is they just weren't, it was just, they had a lot of kinks, and I don't understand neural networks. I don't understand, AI, how it's actually made. I've not really delved into that and read all the details about, how they actually put together these models. They train it on, I don't know, if trillions, billions of lines of data.
Mhm.
And I don't really know how all that goes. I can only tell you the end product was that it was still making a lot of mistakes. It would break your app. So
Right.
you would put in one snippet of code that ChatGPT wrote, and it'd be fantastic, and it would fix your problem.
Yeah.
And then the next one would break your whole app.
Well, that reminds me of a story that came out in 2005 where there was this developer of the T app. I don't know if you ever heard the T app before. It's
Mm.
basically an app where the it's for girls to rate guys, right?
Okay,
And see if they're dating material.
lovely.
And it's pretty much, hey, here's the pictures of guys on the internet, and this is the T on them. Should you date them or not?
Oh my
So
gosh.
the problem with that is that there was a back end error because the developer, from what I believe is, used ChatGPT to write the code. So there was a back error to it where the girls that did sign up for this website, because it's predominantly a woman app,
Mhm.
they got their information hacked
Oh no.
because they were supposed to submit their government ID in order to enter this app.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
What ended up happening? Did they shut the whole thing down?
I don't know if they shut the whole thing down. I know it was a pretty big scandal back in 2025, but
Yeah.
I didn't see where it ended. I just do know that, there's developers that use AI mostly for code.
Yeah.
which, you'd say what you want. I'm sure you have your opinions
But
about
is it
that.
just some developers? It's almost all because this is what I was going to get to. That last summer, Anthropic dropped a model called Claude Opus,
Okay,
and
I know
it
Claude. Yeah.
it was phenomenal.
Hmm.
It took everything you thought you knew about what the bots could achieve with your code
Hmm.
and just turned it on its head. It
Interesting.
was so much better, so much faster, but mainly it could just do things that the other one just couldn't do. Now they have the ability to develop an entire app. Before it was like they could work on a code snippet, but then you had to take the snippet and either you were already using it in an IDE, which is integrated development environment.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've ever seen VS Code or
Yes.
Notepad plus
So
plus or
I'm
something like that.
familiar. I used to do coding myself
Oh, great! So you know VS
for,
Code.
well, I know the coding I used to do was C sharp.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's as far as
that's
my
the hard
coding.
stuff.
I don't know if it's, I mean,
No, really,
it's
that's
easier than C plus plus, that's for sure.
Well, the thing about VS Code that's so great, it's open source. It's Microsoft's editor that they just give out, and there are just every function, every extension, I think they call them,
Hmm.
every plugin type thing you can imagine is in there,
Yeah.
and the support for AI agents, or what they're called now,
Hmm.
is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so you can use it right there.
Hmm.
It's really cheap, because I paid for Anthropic. I saw what Claude could do, and I thought, okay, I don't care what the price is. It was 200 a month. I thought I'm going to bite the bullet and just do this, and I couldn't believe the results. I was
Right.
actually working on a different app for sign language.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So let's talk about your app for a little bit.
sure.
What is your app? What's the premise of your app?
Well, it's a vibe coder.
A vibe
A
coder.
vibe coder.
Can you define what a vibe coder is?
I can. Well, a lot of people have used something called Lovable, or I think there's one called Bolt. There may be 5 or 10 that are really popular right now.
Okay.
It's where a layperson, somebody that doesn't know anything about code, not you even, not me for sure,
Hmm.
like somebody like my husband, or I don't know, I have a friend that's into, I think, cosmetic type stuff.
Hmm.
She's a esthetician, I think,
Yeah.
and she told me that she had built an app,
Hmm.
you know. But here's the problem with a lot of the vibe coders. They still suffer from this issue of this, they call it hallucination, where the bot makes mistakes. And then it just makes a flat out mistake, like a button that won't, you try to click it and it does nothing. Or
Interesting.
you want it to be blue and it's red. I mean, just really, just even basic stuff.
Hmm.
And so these vibe coders are phenomenal. They will put together, like if you need a new website, you can say, hey, Claude, I'd like a website. I'd like it to look like this. And within 5 minutes or something, you will have a website.
Interesting.
And that's the whole vibe coding movement.
So it's the future of free webs.
Well, it's kind of just the future, maybe, of apps. I mean,
Hmm.
you have to wonder if we're not headed to a world, and this is not something I thought up myself. My husband mentioned this, but we've read it, in other places. Are we heading to a world where all apps are custom?
Well, have you ever heard of the dead internet theory? So the dead internet theory is pretty much is where, and I'm going to paraphrase it. It's pretty much where humans are no longer really a part of the internet. It's more of just AI that poses as people. And you can actually see that a lot in, for example, on Facebook, right? You
You
see
think?
all these bots that put comments of, oh, this looks great. What a
Oh my
wonderful thing. How
gosh.
positive is that? And that's
Yeah,
kind of the dead internet theory. And that's kind
yeah.
of what I'm seeing now, what you're kind of
And on
describing
Twitter too.
on Twitter, any social media,
Yeah.
because it alters the algorithm enough to tailor to what you want to see.
Well, Twitter is a sad case right now.
Is it a set
I
case?
mean, the fact is, Twitter used to be this wonderful platform. I mean, I understand that politically there were some issues, that they did some things that maybe they shouldn't have, that they, had their take. There was shadow banning and everything like that. But under Jack Dorsey, Twitter was a publishing platform where you curated your feed,
Hmm.
and then you would see the content of the people that you had chosen.
Hmm.
You know, it didn't hijack your desire or hijack your feed with what it thinks you want. And the problem with their new algorithm is that it used to be based on things like likes and retweets.
Right.
So you would see a little bit more in your feed, a little bit less if the person had more likes or more retweets, but you could also sort it chronologically,
Hmm.
which would, and I may be wrong here, but I think it would just give you your feed, the 100 people that you chose to follow, their tweets in order chronologically.
Okay.
That's it. Well, that was the thing of beauty because you got to decide what was in your feed. Now, the new algorithm, it prioritizes feeds with more replies, not with
Interesting.
more likes, not with more retweets, but more replies. Well, think about the kind of content that that boosts. Salacious content. You know,
Right.
Jerry Springer style content. That ages me to even name Jerry Springer, but you
Who's
know,
Jerry Springer?
back in the
Sadly,
day,
I know Jerry
you
Springer,
know what I
so
mean? The guy that just had that TV show where anything went, you know, incestuous sisters, here they are. Oh, sorry, I don't know. Am I not supposed to say that?
no, I was laughing. I almost spat out my teeth because it's true.
Just, you know,
You are
really,
not the father.
you know what I'm saying? Like a priest that works for Satan. I don't know, anything really bad, nasty stuff.
Hmm.
That's what you're people fighting with each other. You know,
And that's
let's
that's
watch a
modern Twitter.
grandmother punch their grandson live today at 5. That's the kind of salacious, nasty. It's an algorithm that promotes hate. It promotes division. And hey, I am not saying this to be political. I'm not really that political.
Hmm.
I'm just an app developer. I
Yeah,
love code. I let the politics kind of sort itself out. I have my opinions, but that's not my arena.
sure. And I totally understand. And it's interesting that you did bring that up because a lot of people praise Elon Musk for buying Twitter because it brought more of a freedom of speech that Twitter didn't have before.
Yeah.
At least that's what
But
they
boy, the
claim.
price has been high.
The price has been high.
Yeah, because I mean, I had a curated feed of people that I really liked, people that I cared about, people that had really intelligent viewpoints that I wanted to read, and I can't even see their stuff anymore, and
Interesting.
they certainly can't see mine. I mean, because I'm not very active on Twitter, and if I write something, I don't write it to get responses. See, salacious, angry. You know what I mean? The
Yeah,
more vitriolic you can get the people to feel about your post, the more you're going to get engagement. I mean, I try to write things that are about my life or about something to do with AI, and those just don't get any looks. And,
right.
and that's okay because I'm not trying to make my living on Twitter, but it kind of turned this publishing platform into something really different.
Interesting.
So for me, there's really not a lot of reason to be on there.
Hmm.
And you know, I don't know what else because there really isn't anything like Twitter. You
Well,
don't
there's
have hundreds
BlueStacks.
of
Is it
millions.
is it BlueStacks is what it's called?
Is that the one that Jack Dorsey started or the Facebook one?
May no, no.
Facebook says that they've got more views on
I
theirs.
have no idea. I just know that when Elon Musk joined with Donald Trump on his campaign for presidency, I think it's Blue Sky. I think that's what it's called. Blue Sky
I think
is
that was Jack Dorsey's. I think
is it?
that's the one he was going
They
to
did
start.
more of the alt left. If X is alt right, then Blue Sky is alt left, right?
Yeah, and you know that probably has some problems too, just because why identify it so closely? It wasn't that I necessarily agreed with Twitter trying to identify with politics of the left because it was such a beautiful platform. Why not let it be kind of just for all? You know?
Tribalism at its finest, I
Yeah,
suppose.
yeah. This thing in you know, Minnesota. I
Hmm.
mean, kind of promoting tweets that promote people to be really, really angry, I think we have a problem with that. And then you include bots, the fact that the bots are generating things.
Hmm.
And there's just this financial windfall for the actors here that are doing it because they make money off having all these armies of bots stirring up all this stuff. Because the more clicks they get,
Hmm.
the more money it represents for some of the businesses that are going to get, you know, clicked off on or whatever. Or if they get an account that's got 1 million followers, you know, there's a financial gain there.
Yeah, and it reminds me of this one game that I used to love playing called Metal Gear Solid 2, where the whole premise of the plot is the age of information on the internet,
Oh,
which
yeah.
Hideo Kojima, the brilliant man as he is, he predicted this would be an issue back in 2004. They made
Yeah.
a video game about it where essentially and this is true with all things, is a universal truth, is that if you're able to control the language and if you're able to control the people based on information, then you
Hmm.
control the people, right?
Yeah.
And that's coming from what you're saying right now. I can definitely hear that as you would say, the bots are actually flaming this vitriol right now.
Yeah.
It's pretty much of being an inflammatory, and you got to question the ethics these people that make these bots are trying to do
Well, it
with the
used to be, I
populace.
saw an interesting movie. It's been a while. Our doctor actually recommended. I think it was called The Social Dilemma or
Hmm.
something, The Social Experiment. And it had the guy that either was the CEO or the guy that started, I think, Pinterest,
Hmm.
talking about how actually the system of likes and everything was driving these algorithms. And these are the old algorithms, you know, that are innocuous compared to the ones today.
Sure.
That this like driven society was headed in a really nasty area. And I can't remember if the movie focused more on, you know, bullying and how horrible it was for self-esteem for young girls and boys that
Oh,
wanted
absolutely.
to get the likes and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, that movie has ended up being, kind of like this, I don't know, this thing that you look back on and you say, wow, that wasn't even nearly as bad as what it was going to get.
Right?
And
Yeah,
then you look
some
at this
things
movie
age well.
Idiocracy. Have you seen the movie
No,
Idiocracy?
I have not.
It's an old movie. I don't know, maybe it's 15 years old. One hilarious thing that my son pointed out was that they chose the stupidest looking shoes they could find. I guess the guy that, I don't know, did the movie or did the directing or something
Right.
said they were really trying to find shoes that look like a society of morons would wear them. And this was some 20 years ago. So they discovered this new company called Croc.
Okay. Well, that's funny.
And so if you look through the movie Idiocracy with Luke Owens, right?
Okay.
I mean Luke Wilson,
Yeah.
Owen Wilson's brother, the
I didn't
not
even
as
know he had
famous of
I
the
didn't even know he
brother.
had a brother. Oh my
This guy,
gosh.
this really
Does
friendly
he
brother.
also have a broken nose?
No,
Oh, well, that's probably why he's not famous.
well, he is
He
famous. He
is?
is famous. Yeah,
Well,
Luke Wilson is the kind of lead in this movie, and I guess they're wearing Crocs, which they look like little clown shoes.
well,
And I
Crocs are
mean,
kind of
okay,
stupid.
here we are, 20 years later. But Idiocracy is hilarious when you look back at it now.
Mhm.
You can't really believe how spot on this movie is. It just how people get dumber and dumber and dumber. So he travels ahead like 500 years in time, and he's the smartest person on the planet, and he's so mediocre. He's just
Right.
this regular guy. You know what I mean? But he's
Yeah.
just like a super genius compared to. And are we headed there?
I made this post on the Alaska Tea Spell page yesterday, which unfortunately I had to delete. And and it was pretty much a nothing satire post where I just want people to read this long text with nothing actually happening at the end, no punchline. And someone wrote, just listening to this made me dumber. And then I replied, if this would be deeply concerning to me if we were a society of intellect.
We're having some, and with people, one thing that you read about AI is people are so afraid that you don't have to use your brain. Well, in coding, I do want to at least defend us poor AI using coders
Okay.
that you do still have to use your brain. In fact, what you're doing is having to use your brain maybe even more because instead of focusing intently on one function or one loop that you're trying to rewrite
Hmm.
and say, oh boy, I don't have this right. I need to be able to populate this entire, column here with this data. How am I doing it wrong? And you're sitting there and you're staring at your one function and you're making these micro edits. Well, now the bot does that for you,
Hmm.
but you have to manage the fact that the bot is doing 20 edits to 20 files or 5 edits that are long to 5 files.
Hmm.
And you have to decide, do I look at each one individually? How do I manage what they did? How do I tell the bot what I wanted? And if they get it wrong, which they still often do,
Hmm.
how do you figure out what they should have done? And,
Right.
and that's almost a tougher lift in some cases. I
Yeah.
mean, you can end up really underwater with your own code where you don't even understand your own code.
Well, that's the problem, right? And it's like I said multiple times on this podcast, right? AI is a good tool if it's used well,
Yeah.
right? If you let it write a paper for you and you don't like put in the prompt, hey, write me a a one-page summary of Stephen King's Pet Cemetery,
Yeah.
right? But you never read the book itself, or you didn't put the time to actually
Well, and that's what's happening, I think,
synthesize.
everywhere.
Right. Then it becomes an issue of skill and knowledge, in my opinion,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Let's say that, for example, for me, even there's times where I write a lot, right?
Mm.
I'm not gonna say I'm a prolific writer. There's some grammatical issues that I do make, and I put it through ChatGPT just to do corrections for
Sure.
me. But
Sure.
at the end of the day, it's still my ideas. It's my concepts. It's more like
Right.
I see it as if the AI is just fine tuning what you're doing, and I can see that you probably see it similar to code. If it's fine tuning what you're doing, you understand the knowledge behind it, then it's like, okay, well, you're not abusing the system. It's your own knowledge. You're just fine tuning that knowledge in
Well, I
itself.
would say it's a little bit different because in the case of writing a paper, you really should be the one writing the paper, even if it helps
Absolutely.
you with ideas and maybe even an outline,
Hmm.
and even if it helps you with your grammar and all that. With code, it's actually okay for them to write the code. I mean, they
Interesting.
they can code. They can write the syntax, they can write functions, they can give you 20 beautiful functions that turn into a component. Let's say one thing I was working on yesterday was our coloring panel
Hmm.
where you take your little website or your app that we've built with through the vibe coding through you said, hey, I want a very cool landing page for my business, my podcast. And then we ask you, well, what's your podcast about? It's about Alaska. And so maybe it's going to give you some mountains, maybe it's
Right.
going to give you a blue green theme,
Hmm.
some ice hanging from the side, something like that. And then it's going to fill in some text for you if you don't tell it what you want.
Sure.
And then you're going to click through and you're going to look at your app and it's going to be built already and you can morph it, like adjust it. And we've got a color panel. And so you click and you open the color panel and it gives you all the main colors, red, blue, green, brown, orange, whatever,
Sure.
purple. And I was working on the tools,
Hmm.
and we've got brightness, saturation, and hue. So you can make it brighter or darker, make it a little more colorful, make it look a little more, the colors contrast more. And the little sliders back and forth for all the color palettes because we offer you 4 per color. So that's 40, you know what I mean?
Right.
Times being adjusted by these 3 little controls. That would take you hours.
Right.
If you're a programmer and you're working on that panel, the bot, in this case, I was working with Claude Opus 4.5, I think, the agent in VS
Hmm.
Code. It built that in 5 minutes.
Right.
And that's something that would have been an hours long process of sort of making sure that I had everything right, making sure that I had all the colors in there, the arrays of colors it was going to feed, testing out all the controls. And then I have the CSS. CSS is what we use to place things.
Hmm.
I don't know if you ever used Flash back in
I
the
know a
day.
Flash. I've never used it,
Oh,
but
all right. See,
yes,
I'm aging myself with
we've all been
Flash.
to new grounds before.
Well, you could actually position things in Flash. If you wanted a little control that was a little button, you put it right where you wanted it.
Right.
And now with JavaScript and HTML5, which took over for Flash.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve Jobs, I guess. R.I.P. We have something called CSS, which is the design language of your page, how your page is laid out,
Hmm.
whether your font is huge, whether your font is small, whether there's a little more padding between the top of your page and your header or your text. All of that is laid out by a language called
Interesting.
CSS. And I don't really like that language all that much. The bots are actually very good at CSS.
Interesting.
And it's a very complex, kind of mathematical, the rules that adjust everything. So it was able to do that just beautifully in
Okay.
just a fraction of the time a human would do it. So should I have been able to code all that the same way I should have been able to write my own Shakespeare paper if I were a 10th grader? Not really, but I need to know what it did. I need to know where it did it.
Right. And
I
that's my
need to know,
caveat to that too, is that
yeah.
if you don't know how the knowledge it's I like to think of Jurassic Park,
But I
right?
understand CSS
Right.
too, and I
And that's
understand what it needed to do to make that panel. But there's going to come a day where a junior coder, I mean, I've been programming for, I don't know, 20, 25 years, something like that,
okay. It's
But
a long
what
time.
about somebody that's trying to learn to code?
Right.
They've taken, their JavaScript class at, I don't know, MIT,
Hmm.
Pomona, and they've taken elementary, I don't know, HTML or something.
Hmm.
How are they going to get the experience to know when the bot has done something
And
wrong?
that's where it
And
really
maybe they
comes down
won't
to,
ever.
right? Again, going back to the whole Jurassic Park, th- I call it my metaphor, right? It's a scene where they're all having lunch and discussing, oh, the dinosaurs, they're so great. The hatchery, wonderful. All is great, right? And, the important question that I believe should be applied to all scientists in general is just because we can, should we, right? And they talk about the dinosaurs being revived and saying, yeah,
Yeah.
your scientists they have the technology to do it, but did they
Hmm.
ever think to themselves, should they do it? It's
Yeah.
like going to your dad's closet and getting this gun and just shooting all over the place because you don't know how the function or the morality behind it, the ethics behind it.
Well, also you overshoot, like
Yeah.
I'm building a system that's kind of like Lego blocks.
Yeah.
What we're doing that's unique, if you
Hmm.
want to know what Quippy does
Yeah,
that
I do.
that Lovable and Bolt don't do.
Hmm.
Well, these apps are still seeing really high levels of hallucination where, it isn't that the first time they build your app there are problems, but if you ask it to kind of add more to it, and very seldom are you going to get a final product at the first pass.
Sure.
So your second pass, your third pass, your fifth pass, your 10th pass, end up developing more and more problems. But the other thing is they don't have an editor. They don't
Interesting.
open the app into an editor for the human.
Hmm.
For me, that's just essential. If you're going to build somebody an app or a website, they should be able to open it up and play with it. They
Absolutely.
should be able to open up and do something with it. So I built an editor. Every app that is in our system opens directly up into an editor. Well, the reason they can't do that is because the bots code it differently every time.
So
Every
it's
time they
constantly changing.
constantly changing. It's a moving target. Most of them are built in a language called, or a compiler or whatever. It's called a front end JavaScript language called React. No, it's a framework, not a language.
Yeah.
And we are not using React.
I
We're
see.
using a totally different thing. But the editor is really important. And so we're using kind of Lego blocks. The only way we can achieve this is we have to have everything kind of thought out in advance.
Okay.
All the things that can be in your app, we have to pre-think. And
Right.
so that's a weakness, and that's
Mhm.
something that I'm hoping to overcome. And I've got some creative ideas of how we can allow for more bot creativity. But
Right.
so these Lego blocks are what, eventually show up. So anyway, I had some crazy ideas of how we could support different things, and boy, we could do this and that and this and that. And I started going down this path a couple of days ago, and I thought to myself, just because I can do this, because I can get the bots to make all this complicated code,
Yeah.
so I mean I should.
Right.
And it was actually really hard because I had to go backward. I erased it, well, you kind of branch it. I branched it and put it off in a dead zone
Yeah.
and said
A
that
dead zone, huh?
it's just a dead zone. It's a dead branch. We could look at it later,
Mhm.
but that's really tough because it was like 3 hours of work. Not just my work, it was me and the bot.
Right.
And I just said, yeah, I shouldn't do this right now because
Yeah.
this is a layer of complication I don't need. And how do you do that when you have these coding assistants that can do anything?
It kind of makes me wonder this in specific is how smart are the AI, how smart is the AI going to be to the point where they're going to be like, no, I'm going to just do my own thing. You don't know what you're talking
They
about.
already do that. They already do that. It's remarkable because I've looked through some of the code that I didn't bother to look at. What I do, and I know there are going to be people that are going, "Oh, that's terrible." I look at the result.
Hmm.
I mean, if they edit 10 files, no, I don't go through all 10 files to look at every little thing that they did. I would drive myself insane. That would take me so much time. I would never have a product. There would never be anything done. What's the point of using them if I'm going to do that?
Sure.
So I tend to say, hey, fix this panel that loads our fonts. Our fonts are looking all crazy. This doesn't look right. Please fix it. If
Hmm.
it's fixed, I move on. I don't go like, oh, I wonder if they fixed it right. And then go back in there. Maybe I should. I
Hmm.
don't, you know. And so the problem that you had is that they can be doing things in a way that's the opposite of what you asked for.
Interesting.
I have specifically asked for something called fast fail, which means if the code is wrong, I want it to fail. I
Right.
want a big alert that says, your code is wrong. This has failed.
So
Oh
compiler
no.
issues.
They are constantly adding sneaky little fallbacks so that
Interesting.
if it fails, it shows you something else.
Hmm.
So that you have no idea your code just failed. And
Interesting.
they do it every day. They do it every day.
So are they modifying their own code?
No, what they're doing is they've got kind of an edict, I think, that they work by that's sort of get the customer what they've asked for the
Hmm.
quickest and most intelligent way possible, and always have a fallback because you want it to work. They
Right.
kind of have this extreme bias toward the code working so that they look good. I don't know.
So
I mean, I'm not
the
saying that
AI,
I understand all
no,
that
so
very
the
well.
AI has its own biases.
Yeah, a little bit.
So where does the biases come from?
That
Does it come from the
great
creator or does it
question.
come from its own coding?
I have no idea. We have to get in there into Anthropic and OpenAI and Google and now Grok.
Grok.
Grok is up and coming. I hope to tell you. Last summer, I mean, when these models first dropped last summer, I hardly slept for a week. There's a bunch of developers you can see in late July
Yeah.
last year. We didn't even sleep.
Hmm.
And you can go on GitHub and you can see there's on GitHub, if you look at anybody's profile, you can see their activity
Yeah.
for the whole year.
Hmm.
You can see every day. It's kind of scary, actually. If you
Yeah.
want to stalk somebody that's a programmer, just look at their GitHub. You know what
So
they
what's your
did.
GitHub?
My GitHub, it shows little green boxes for all the work you did that day.
Interesting.
It's called a commit when you submit your work to be saved in the cloud.
Yeah.
And so if you have like 85 commits in a day, you're definitely using AI to
Hmm.
do that. And at the time that these bots dropped, you see this streak of really dark green boxes in a lot of people's their profile,
Hmm.
which keeps their yearly kind of every day it shows what they've done. And those that was people gone wild.
Interesting.
That was people just using AI 15 hours in a row thinking, "Oh my gosh, this thing is going to redo app development completely."
Interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
very scary in a
Yeah,
way.
it is.
But when they dropped, I compared them all. I went through all of them. I went through, Gemini, which is Google's,
Okay, yeah.
OpenAI. They
Hmm.
had, I call him Harry, ChatGPT.
Jet, does
Yeah,
ChatGPT
yeah.
have
I
a name?
renamed him Harry. I don't know why.
Harry.
Harry,
Harry.
Harry. So we
Yeah.
have Claude, Harry, Gemini, which I think is kind of a female. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Google, yeah,
Well, there are AI, social AIs now that kind of do that for themselves, right?
yeah, they
If
do.
you Replica AI was one of those AIs that are, it's a little bit scary. The story behind it's really sad. I don't know if you know Replica AI story.
No, I
So
don't.
the creator of Replica AI, her, I think it's either her best friend or her boyfriend died in a car accident, and so
Oh,
she was going through such a large grieving process, and she was also a developer for AI too.
oh yeah.
So she made her own AI based on the deceased boyfriend or best friend,
Oh wow.
right? And that kind of exploded into a companionship app for everyone,
Oh my
right?
gosh.
Which, it has its own ethical issues too, of which I think is a really big problem, is how people are attaching themselves to AI, right?
Yeah.
Where they develop these relationships with AI.
Oh, and there's been some really
Yeah,
sad,
it's
sad
really sad
stuff.
cases. And
Mm.
I find that really interesting. If you ever watched the movie Her before with Joaquin Phoenix,
Mm.
so it's basically Scarlett Johansson being an AI OS system that Joaquin Phoenix falls in love with
Oh
this
wow.
AI.
Yeah.
It's actually really good. I love that movie. But it tells the dangers of this new AI system and
Yeah.
how humans in general imprint on something that can give them the attention that they need,
Well, they've had
right?
horrible problems at OpenAI in particular with that.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
exactly.
can't really understand why they weren't able to put the guardrails. That's not my area. This is just as a human being, you
Yeah.
just go like, and I don't know, we need to get into the terrible things that have happened, but there've just been some really sad cases.
Yeah, there has been. And I think it comes down to a couple points, right? I think one, AI is so new that I don't think OpenAI ever even considered the thought of these tragedies that happen. Like, it's
Yeah.
not consideration. I think two is that there are scummy developers that do want people to, I would say
Well, they want
replicate
them to
AI.
engage. It's the
They
same
want
with
to
the Twitter
engage. Exactly.
algorithm.
They want to engage.
Anything that'll get them to stay longer, I
Yeah, for
guess. But I mean,
monetary gain,
it
right? Because,
costs them so much. AI has to churn out. I mean, they have all these supercomputers,
mhm.
and churning out those responses isn't exactly free. I read that they
No.
spend millions, tens of millions of dollars responding to the word thank you.
Yeah, they do.
As humans, we need to say thank you. We don't
Yeah.
because we don't want to take it's funny because it doesn't matter that it's a bot. We still know that it's a force that has just helped us. It's just helped us. We've
Hmm.
said, "Hey, I need help on my paper. I need help on my coding." And it did it. It offered that. And I don't think humans have the capacity to not want to show gratitude. And what kind of society are we moving towards where you don't have to show gratitude? That's the
That's a good
thing.
point. And that's, on the OpenAI standpoint, when they say you don't have to say thank you because it costs a lot of money,
Yeah.
I can understand that in that sense because it's more of a financial figure type of issue. But you are correct. And this is something I talked to Tom Bagage about, is, the gratitude and also being a community as well. And what does that mean? And with AI, in a lot of ways, my fear with it, and I've seen this with various different younger generations, is that they're latching on to AI more than they are to each other, or to
Yeah.
having a friendship, or
Yeah.
being around their family, where AI is becoming the only thing that they're actually able to intimately connect with.
Yeah, and I guess I'm lucky because my kids have this kind of love-hate thing with AI. They actually don't trust it.
Well, you shouldn't trust it.
Yeah, they don't trust it. They don't use it for conversation. They use it to check grammar on a paper. And if I even use AI to figure out like what are the best restaurants in downtown Anchorage, they'll go, "Mom, that's AI." You
Yeah.
better check a real source. And I'm like, but wait, it's legit. It can get the restaurants, but they have such a high level of suspicion for
Hmm.
AI. But I was talking about the comparison.
Hmm.
So the other one you have is Grok. We also have, I think it's is it Deep Seek, the one from China?
Actually, yes.
Deep Seek, right?
I've heard
That's the
that they're
Chinese one.
actually screwing with the stock market right now
Oh,
because
wow.
DeepSeek has been opened up and people have been using it,
Mhm.
and Nvidia's stock went down because of DeepSeek.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, wow. Okay, I don't know about that, but I do know that last summer Grok was terrible at coding. I gave all of the bots the same task, and I was working on a sign language app. My daughter has autism, nonverbal autism,
Yeah.
and ASL or American Sign Language is one of the ways that she communicates.
Yeah.
She also writes and reads, and so she has a little tablet that has text. But my daughter has this app that I've been working on for a long time with a little puppet that you can kind of dress up. You make it a boy, a girl, hair, eyes, whatever, and we've hooked it into a database of 3,000 sign language words.
Okay.
And so I was trying to get it more sophisticated. I wanted the hands to actually animate. And that is way beyond my coding ability because we're talking about physics here, where you have to have morphing outlines to your hands for the shadows.
Sure.
We could get the skinned hands to,
Hmm.
to open and close and do all the letter shapes, but I couldn't get the outlines because that's complicated
Okay.
because it's the shadowing. Think
Yeah.
how the shadow has to change when I do, A, B, C.
Right.
And the problem is without those outlines, you won't see the fingers. It'll
Sure.
just look like a blob.
Yeah.
So I had that problem and I thought, oh, this is great for the bots.
Hmm.
And I ran into more brick walls. It was really hard. That's how I got the idea to make a better system,
Right.
to make the Lego blocks, to make it to where you have the functions whitelisted
Right.
so that they're not using their own code. They're using the code you've given them to use
Hmm.
and just sort of curating. You're allowing the bot to curate,
Right.
but not to just think up original stuff that may be wrong.
Hmm.
Anyway, so I tried all of them, and Grok was the worst. Just really the worst.
Sorry, Elon.
Just sorry, Elon. No, not sorry, Elon. Here we are 6 months later. I can't believe how much better. It's like the guy in the class that shows up and he's the ugliest dude, and you're like, sorry, pal. I mean, like, whatever. Okay, you go over there to the side. And now he showed up, he's like Chris Hemsworth. I mean, I'm telling you, Grok, I don't know if he's quite Chris Hemsworth, but he's getting there. Maybe he's Chris Pine
Oh
back in the
my
day.
gosh.
You know what I mean? Sorry.
I can only just imagine. Oh,
Grok has gotten way better so fast.
yeah.
I mean, I don't think his coding abilities can match Claude yet, or even
Mm-mm.
Codex 5.2, which is OpenAI.
Yeah.
But he's getting there.
Yeah.
Elon. Scary.
I know. It's so fun. I hate it now that, why did he have to do the emails with Epstein, man?
Oh my
That's such a
gosh. Oh, we
disappointment.
cannot get talking
No,
on that.
I'm not gonna get talking that, but I want to make fun of it so much, and I can't. I
It's
just
just
can't do it.
it's so foul. It's
Not
just so
not the
foul.
fact that I just want to make fun of Elon, but now I can't make fun of Elon
Now
because,
you've got that in my brain.
yeah, it's
But even the word, yeah.
I'm just so
A lady
disappointed.
told me the other day that he's alive. I know he's alive.
Elon?
Like,
Oh,
no.
oh, Epstein?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've been seeing that going around lately.
Yeah.
It's the new Elvis Presley
The new
conspiracy
new Jimmy Hoffa.
or Jimmy Hoffa. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't
I'm so
know.
disappointed.
Yeah, that stuff is really nasty, and I don't even know. There aren't a lot of great news stories lately. You think the feel good stuff? It's hard.
You
You read the
know,
news right now, and there's so much that's just bad.
I guess that's, it's been the best of times and the worst of times, I suppose is the best way to put it.
I don't know if there was a time when you could read the news and things were jolly. Everything looks great.
I would love to have a story where cat was stuck on tree and firemen rescued the cat.
Yeah,
I would just be okay with that news story for a while, but we live in turmoil
guys
times.
found in rafts that have been at sea for 100 days.
Yeah.
In the Bering Sea,
Ooh.
and they're doing great.
Yeah.
Just great.
Great. They're
They're
wonderful.
warm. They
Wonderful.
kept warm.
They kept great. They hugged each other, right?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, anyway.
No, I think it is bad, but back to AI. So yeah, I mean, they have made some strides with the Grok, with the X.AI.
Hmm.
I think they just did it through sheer money. And I
Yeah.
think he bought out Zuckerberg's entire AI team.
Did he actually?
You read that? I think I read that.
Hmm,
Yeah.
interesting.
I mean, not in a friendly way, in a like in the middle of the night, taking off like if the brew house shows up to Simon and Seaforth's and takes all their staff,
Oh my,
and then everybody shows up and they can't even eat because there's nobody to
yeah.
cook it,
Hmm.
something like that. Bad,
Yeah.
yeah. Elon isn't, he doesn't play by rules that, all's fair in love, war, business, and
I bet.
oh, I don't know, interplanetary.
I I tell
Doesn't
you,
care.
I bet you my $5 sooner or later the Big Bang Theory producers are going to take off that episode where Elon was in the episode doing
Mhm.
Thanksgiving cleanup.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
All
it was
right.
actually an episode of The Big Bang Theory, and I guarantee you that they're going to be like, it's time to remove the episode, folks. This is going to be a lost episode now.
Oh. Well, some of the stuff he does, I mean, the car looks cool. A lot of people seem to really like those
It
cars.
looks like a Nintendo
Truck is kind of a
64.
weird one.
It looks
Yeah.
like a Nintendo 64 hologram.
Yeah.
It looks like
Oddly.
it's like literally booting up a cartridge of Nintendo 64 and playing Blast Corps. That's what it looks like to me.
I like those Rivians. Now that's not Elon.
Hmm.
Rivians are nice.
Yeah.
Someone in Seattle.
Yeah.
Looks
Exactly.
smooth. Like the new Range Rover,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if you could drive that kind of car up here, though. I mean, do they have the support for those electric vehicles up here? Yeah. If you
There
drive to
there is a
Homer, are you going to run out of electricity halfway?
I
And
don't know because I've seen electrical stations at gas
oh yeah,
stations. At least one in Bear Creek.
okay.
Yeah, there's at least one I know of over there. So that's as far as my knowledge of seeing electrical stations. But I'm sure there's more around. I mean, there's plenty of people in Alaska that
Yeah.
drive electrical cars. So,
Well, I think
do
tech is the future for Alaska, and I'll tell you, I think AI
you
in
think there's going to be a
particular,
tech boom in
I
Alaska?
do. And I think that without giving away information I shouldn't, I think there's some
I mean, you
AI
can if you
projects that are
want.
happening. Well, not related to my thing,
Oh,
but I think that we're going to be exporting data. Let's put it
exporting
that way.
data.
We've got the ability to heat facilities to generate power, do we not? We've got the oil, we've got the gas. And if they put that into a facility where you've got supercomputers, let's think about it. You can keep it cold because we're Alaska. I think Greenland's already doing this, right?
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to research it, but I think there's going to be a variety of AI facilities here. They're putting a big one at JBear. They're putting all kinds of.
Really?
They're spending like $1 billion or something at JBear.
Hmm.
That's not proprietary knowledge or whatever.
Okay.
That's not my secret. I didn't hear that from some secret colonel. No, that I read about it at I think ADN.com.
Okay.
But
Interesting.
we do have the cold.
Hmm.
They need cold,
Yeah.
right? These things heat up. You need to keep it cold. Now, there's the summertime, of course.
Hmm.
But so there's the question of where you would put a facility like that.
Well, I've seen a lot of reports. One of my favorite YouTubers I watch is Mudahar from Some Ordinary Gamer, and he talks a lot about AI.
Oh yeah.
And he has his own concerns, but one of the things that he was talking about is how electricity went up for a lot of people because they put these supercomputers in the city,
Yeah.
right? So suddenly their electricity bill went up for something they didn't even pay for.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like there's a couple of those issues. Electricity coming up. There is the stockpile of CPU and RAM being bought out
Oh,
by
sure.
the companies, so the general consumer can't even access technology anymore like they used to because they're really trying to push for everyone to get on the cloud.
Mhm.
Meaning you won't have ownership of anything anymore. What are your thoughts of these big companies taking all these components away from the public now
Well, I
to
don't
make
think
AI?
there's not much you can do about it. So I think at some point, you have to either roll with it and you have to try to figure out what's it mean for us. I
Well,
worry
no
more about.
ownership anymore. We don't own anything.
Well, I don't know if that's what I worry about as much. Honestly, the thing I worry about the most is the unemployment that's coming. And I think that I can't remember how to pronounce his name, so I'm not going to mangle it here. But the guy that started Anthropic,
Okay.
I think he and his sister started it. Guy that had gone to Caltech and then went to Stanford and then ended up starting Anthropic at some
Hmm.
point. I don't know what he did right before that, but I mean, he gave this interview where he said he sees like 20, 20 to 30% unemployment, something like that. The
Hmm.
number was horrific.
Right.
He said it's going to be within 2 years, within 2, 3 years. This isn't 10 years
Oh
away.
wow.
Most people think that is 10 years away. If
Hmm.
that happened, if we had 20% unemployment, what would that do? And think about who would be unemployed.
Yeah.
These aren't people that are used to being unemployed. These are people that might have a degree from, I don't know, UW, MIT, Stanford. These people that have studied computer science or accounting or whatever. These people are used to having these cushy jobs.
Mhm.
What happens as a society if we don't have those jobs?
Well, it's even more than that, I would believe. It's teachers, psychologists, therapists.
Teachers, think about how AI could put a dent into that.
Well, they already are. If you look at the Anchorage School District right now, as we speak, right, they are using computers to teach students even more than teachers. The teachers are there on the standby to see what the computers are doing,
Yeah.
but it's really the computers that are teaching rather than the teachers at this point. This is what I believe. It's not, I can't be factual about this, just so everyone knows. But this is what I've been hearing a lot.
Oh no. I mean, having kids that just came through the school system. Now I had one kid in ASD, one kid not,
Hmm.
and then one special needs kid that's kind of at home, homeschooling. But we do use resources of the she's with Matsu School District
Right.
for homeschooling. Um, oh no, we switched. She's with IDEA now. So
Oh, well, there
she
you
was
go.
with Matsu. Sorry. Uh, so I don't know that I agree because I think the opposite. I don't think they make enough use of computers.
Really?
No. No, in the
Really?
pandemic especially, they had no idea how to even pivot to online
But
learning.
that's what happened during COVID and why so many kids got derailed. It's because they went to Apex.
It's because they didn't know how to use it and because the systems they chose were boring, they weren't interactive. Let me tell you the story
But
of
maybe that's
Smarty
not the
Ants.
point.
I will tell
Maybe
you the
that's not
story
the
of
point.
Smarty Ants. My
Okay.
daughter, I took her out of first grade because she was having some issues.
Hmm.
And she was at a certain reading level. I think when she was in first grade, she was at like a second grade reading level, which is, it's a little bit good,
Yeah.
but she's got a lot of abilities in that area.
Hmm.
And I put her on a program at home on the iPad called Smarty Ants.
Hmm.
It was adaptive learning, which means it knows what the kid has learned and what it hasn't, and it will give them more of the areas they have
Hmm.
weaknesses, and it will move them along at a quicker pace when it knows that they know something.
Sure.
So that's the whole idea behind adaptive learning. It was animated, it was engaged. She used a microphone to read.
Hmm.
It had animated scenes, it had characters, it had vocabulary lists that it knew when to give her. It was phenomenal. So my
Sure.
daughter spent maybe 6 months at home being homeschooled, working on this Smarty Ants reading program. Her reading level went from second grade, and I kid you not, it sounds crazy, to ninth. I mean,
There you go, Shelly. Hope you're happy.
okay, she's smart. Okay, this kid's smart.
Yeah.
But so and ninth, okay, she tested ninth. That doesn't mean it was real,
Yeah.
but without a doubt, she definitely blew through the elementary reading. She
Yeah.
just blew through it, and that this adaptive learning was so engaging. But that's not every learning. Apex is boring. I mean, you
True.
take a dictionary, I mean, an encyclopedia, and just digitize it. That
That's
is not.
Apex.
That does not take advantage of online learning. That does not take advantage of the dynamic, you know, the using animation, gamification. Guess what else? Smarty Ants was gamified. There was a huge gaming, and I don't mean gaming like Fortnite or like shooter one or whatever.
Right.
I mean gaming like fun. Like you get to dress the pig. I don't know. You get to do some fun little things. You get to kids like to build stuff. Like here's
Absolutely.
your little
Well, this
house, your
generation is
gingerbread house
much
you get
more
to put
critical
stuff
thinking
on.
than
You know what I
others.
mean?
That's what I've noticed is that they're more of builders that I've seen lately. They're more builders than they are academically inclined these days. At
Yeah.
least from what I noticed is that if you give them a puzzle or if you give them
And you would
maybe some
know because of
blocks.
what you do.
Right, right. They're more creative these days. They're more of, hey, here's the issue, and let's see how I can solve it more than the academically inclined where read a textbook and synthesize what you get out of it, right?
That's really hard to ask them to do now
It
after
is.
they've been on these pads since they were 5, 6 years old.
Yeah, and that's a part of the problem that I've read too, especially with a book like The Anxiety Generation that tells me all about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of that book or not, but it talks a lot about kids
No,
that
but I have
grow up.
two of them at my house.
Oh,
So
there you go.
I have two teenagers
Yeah,
that are,
they talk
17 and 19.
it. I've I've said that I reference this book so much on this podcast that the guy that wrote might as well pay me now.
Oh, yeah.
But he talks a lot about how kids that grew up in the iPhone generation and
Yeah.
beyond have no social skills because they use a computer
Yeah.
to, use merit to reward and identify as that as rewards or the stimuli instead of actually connecting with people.
I think the phone may be worse. And luckily, we held off a long time on phones.
Yeah,
We
which
really only got them phones when they were much old, like teenagers, and in part it was just to be able to text them, where do you pick me up,
yeah,
where are you.
yeah,
And my daughter's school makes them put their phones away. They can't even bring them. I don't even think it's like put it away. I think you can't even have one on campus
right.
really. And then West instituted a policy finally, I think, his final year, but he never used his phone at school anyway
Hmm.
because he had gone to a school where at Holy Rosary you just can't do that.
Yeah.
There's no way. So my kids didn't grow up with the phone in their hand,
Well, that's great, and I think that's a
but they have one now.
yeah. Well, and there's a difference, right? Because I've seen kids that grow up. I see kids now these days where you can find them on their tablet at 1 years old because parents use it as a babysitting
Yeah,
instead of actually, being there as the parents. They use technology to raise them as a parent. So
yeah.
they coexist and they integrate with these technological methods. And what concerns me going back to the whole idea of, teaching and using computers to teach and using things that are more like spelling bee or is it
Smarty ants.
smarty ants, smarty ants. That's
Oh
right.
man, and Smarty Ants got bought out, and I think they just closed it down.
No,
You know,
that's unfortunate.
it really was. If you had seen this program, you would see the difference between that and what they did during the pandemic.
Yeah.
What they did during the pandemic, we were at Stellar. Our kids went to Stellar online for the whole first year when everyone was virtual.
Yeah.
And I mean, they tried. They were very friendly. I would actually be in the other room listening to the online class, and all they did was move the class online. They moved what should have been just a regular physical class. This one guy would say, "Hey, y'all," and he would start with his day. Let's talk about physics. And I would be wanting to fall asleep 20 minutes into this guy's thing.
Well,
I'm not really
that's a
sure
general
what else he
problem.
could have done,
Yeah.
but I think you have to put gamification, you have to put interactive videos, you have to put chat. I remember in the 90s, oh my gosh, I aged myself again. I was at UT for a summer
Yeah.
learning Portuguese, falando português.
Oh boy.
Uh-huh. Is it imparando or is that Italian? I don't know.
That's Italian.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So learning,
Aprender.
aprendiendo, falar português. And
Você
one of the
fala
things that we
português?
used, and we thought we were stuff, eu falo,
Oh,
não falo
entendi.
muito bem.
Não, eu não falo muito bem
Fala
também.
muito ruim.
Ah, eu também. Eu
Yeah.
falo muito ruim.
No, you follow really good. This guy
No,
is Brazilian.
no, I'm not Brazilian.
Brazilian.
I mean,
Portuguese.
German Brazilian.
But you lived there for a year or two, right?
I've lived there for 2 years, and then I went back in my adult years and relearned
I think your
Portuguese.
Portuguese is so much better than you
I
think it is.
don't speak Portuguese that much anymore because there's not many people that speak
Você
Portuguese.
deve falar.
Yeah,
It's
você
that
fala.
little accent.
Yeah, você fala, mas você não tá aqui falando comigo.
Eu falo
Ah,
com vós, não com você.
com
Você.
você.
Now, see, that's confusing because in Argentina, they use the word vos for you.
Yeah,
And that was the last place I lived was Argentina.
right.
So, okay, so what were we talking about? Okay,
We were talking about school and how,
oh, so yeah, so this was the 90s. This was when the internet had just been around a few years, and we actually used chat together to practice our written Portuguese, and it was really kind of fun because
interesting.
we got in a room and there were, I don't know, maybe 15 of us, and we had the instructors were kind of, I don't know if they were curating, what do you call it, where they were being the admin,
Sure.
helping us with our grammar and
Mhm.
everything. And we chatted back and forth, and it was kind of cool because that one guy you thought was kind of cute in the back of the room, you could say like, "Hey, Raphael, what's up?"
Oh,
And
como está, bonito?
yeah, and like razz him about the fact that you saw him in the gym.
Você quer vai para uma café comigo?
No,
pouquinho café, por favor.
maybe, but it was so novel, but it was so fun, and also the written Portuguese, being able to see it written,
Mhm.
and yet we had that social angle because it was chat. It was just really freeform chat.
Yeah.
So that was fun. That was a great way to see it, to visualize it, and think how we benefited
Mhm.
from combining seeing written Portuguese with each other, with the social angle.
Right.
So what I guess I'm saying is online learning has things we've known for 25 years that you could use more interactive methods to make it engaging.
Mhm.
Why during the pandemic did they make it an encyclopedia? that was just put online.
I would say it's because it was rushed, right? No one expected COVID to happen, and then it did, and we were.
My conspiraccy theory is they
Uh,
didn't want it to work. They
y-
wanted it to be bad.
why?
Well, to keep their jobs.
To keep their. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. I did not mean that. I'm not anti-teacher. Please do not boycott my app and say
I
that I hated
no. I mean,
teachers. No, I
I
just
think
feel
that.
like they really could have done better. And I wonder where the imagination went with that. Watching two kids spend that year
Yeah.
in the online learning where it really was as boring as it could possibly be. And now they hate online learning. I've
Right.
taken some courses. Have you ever taken an online course on Coursera or
Yeah.
edX?
Yeah.
They're phenomenal.
They can be phenomenal.
I mean, some of them. I've taken a couple of Stanford ones and I didn't finish either one, but I started it. I engaged with it. The videos were beautiful,
Yeah.
really well done, captivating. I did one on the special theory of relativity.
Oh,
I just
that's
wanted to
cool.
understand it. You know what I mean?
Oh, Stephen
I
Hawking's.
know. Oh, Albert Einstein.
Oh, good God. Yeah, you're right. It's Albert
I
Einstein.
mean, maybe Hawking did, some work on that too.
No, that's not, you're right. Relativity is Albert Einstein's theory.
But it's one of those things that as an adult, I didn't really take physics. I never took physics.
Yeah.
So people talk about it, and I was always like, what even
I
is that?
have the same issue because I have a lot of friends that are scientists or engineers, right?
Did you want to know some of this stuff?
Well, they actually gave me a book by Neil deGrasse Tyson that's all about physics. And he says, Here, I'm going to give you this book because I know you like physics. And Blake, you're a great guy. He gave me that book.
Yeah.
And he was like, Have fun reading it.
Wouldn't have been easier as a video on Coursera.
No, no. I mean, look, I'm an avid reader, right?
Yeah.
I think reading is a very important milestone to the human condition. And it's also a way for the populace to be smarter and be able to see what
I
is true and
agree.
which is myth, right?
Yeah.
Especially now when, reading, we're going towards a post-literate society
Oh, the
where
idiocracy.
the idiocracy, exactly, where people are reading less, there's more illiteracy in the United
Yeah.
States than ever before. And the problem with that is that when you have illiteracy or people that can't even read, they're going to believe whatever people say, and they don't have critical thinking skills. And you can even see that now in social media, especially with the vitriol going left and right, is that instead of going to the source, they look at TikTok and what
Yeah.
people have to say on
No, it's the
TikTok.
critical thinking. I actually had a woman tell me that the elites in this country are all part of a Satanist type cult that they do ritual sacrifice. I mean, I don't even want to detail the stupidities
This-
that this woman
well,
believed, but
look,
she believed all of it.
but it's coming to be
Believed all of
true.
it. That they eat babies. That
It's coming true though. You see it in the Epstein
that
leak.
no, the people they're not eating babies.
No,
I'm
okay,
sorry.
there has been emails exchanging with the Epstein where cannibalism was mentioned multiple times. So you are right. There was a
Maybe they
long
were
time
talking
ago.
about alive. Maybe they were talking about the crash, the Uruguayan crash in the Andes,
I
where
mean,
they ate each other. Maybe that's what it
I
referred to.
don't know, but we
They
are
ate each
now
other's bodies,
we
not
know for a
life.
fact now is that there is an elite group of people that done nefarious things. Like
I
that used to be
okay,
conspiracy. That used to
okay.
be
A little
conspiracy.
bit QAnon-y, getting into the QAnon.
Okay, that's fair, but I'm just saying now it can't it's there's facts behind it
She
now.
she she. Okay. I don't know what you're referring to really about the babies and all that, but I mean the idea that this woman believes that the majority of the people that are successful, yeah, whether it's Steve Jobs, for example, she actually even when I said, so you think even Albert Einstein was probably a Satanist, and she said, oh yeah, that's a known fact, and
No.
I thought, lady, you're a nut, and I said, what are your sources on that, and
Well,
whatever
that's
they
where it comes to.
are,
What are your
but it
sources?
doesn't come down to just what her sources are. It comes down to her lack of critical thinking.
Sure.
If you think that every person that's achieved something successful in this country did so because they're eating babies and they're sacrificing the blood of children, I'm sorry, but you lack critical thinking.
I
There
would
is
agree
no
with that.
basis to believe that.
Absolutely. And I do agree. And I would be dismayed to say that everyone that has achieved a merited success are satanic or they eat babies.
Yeah.
Not everyone. There's a group of people And I'm
Okay.
not saying about the cannibalism. I'm just saying there are nefarious people out there, but I'm not gonna say it's everyone out
Well,
there.
I mean, I think there's definitely pedophiles. I mean, I think we've established that there are some people
That's
that are
exactly what I'm
that are
talking about.
just, yeah.
Yeah,
I think, but it's a stretch. Those people are, it's gross. It's just disgusting.
yeah,
But the eating of the babies and the, Satan and all that. I mean, I've not seen one shred of proof. I've not that one
right.
person was involved. I mean, literally, there was a lady that was trying to tell us last summer that Tom Hanks eats babies. I mean, I don't know, but like,
Don't you know that
how
was
far do you
that's how
have
we
to
got.
have your head into the QAnon tornado to think that Tom Hanks is eating babies? I mean,
I mean, that's how he landed his first role as what is it,
in
going big,
Splash, I
going
mean,
big,
a
or
big,
going yeah, big.
yeah,
Yeah, that's how he got
yeah,
his first
yeah.
role in
He ate a
Big.
couple of babies.
He ate a couple babies, and
He ate
that's
a
how
couple
he
of
scored.
babies. I just don't think they're out there eating babies. And the thing is, the dehumanization. This is an issue, and it's not related to AI, but it's something that I think we all feel. You know, the dehumanization of the other. The
Yes.
they are the opposite party of me, therefore they are not
Well,
humans.
it's
We
arena
just watched
politics.
Nuremberg.
Yeah,
Man, Russell Crowe is
I
phenomenal.
gotta love that guy.
Oh,
Yeah,
why he gained 50 pounds for the role, I don't know. I think he should have just used a fat suit. Uh,
yeah. He got.
the extra pounds on Russell. I mean, from Gladiator to that, I don't know. I don't know. But okay, he's on a diet, I think.
Is he?
But
I don't know.
I think he lost some of it
He
already. But
stopped eating bacon.
poor Russell. But man, is he good in that role
He's
as
great.
that hurt man, Goring or whatever his name is. But you see this when you dehumanize the people that are at the opposite end of the spectrum from you politically or
Hmm.
whatever, you create the conditions that can lead to the most horrific atrocities imaginable.
And it's
So
already
if you
happened.
say, "Hey, they eat babies," "Hey, Democrats eat babies," "Hey, Republicans eat babies," then how far are we from where people take up arms against the people that you said, "Well, everybody says they eat babies. Let's get rid of them. Let's exterminate them."
It's
You know,
very difficult right now because arena politics is such a huge issue in America. And it's
the
not
discourse
the
matters.
discourse.
What
You
people
should
say
have discourse.
matters.
And that's the thing is you should be allowed to have discourse, right?
Yeah.
Respectful discourse.
Without
And
me calling you a
yeah,
Satanist.
or whatever, right? I think the problem is that both sides call each other whatever names they want, and it's not just the people, it's also the government, it's also, the current administration. They call the left radical left terrorist,
Yeah.
domestic blah blah blah, which doesn't help the vitriol.
Well, and then the algorithms, then you have to look at the connection with both AI and just standard social media.
Yeah.
The
Ex-
algorithms have favored nastiness. They really have.
mhm,
Back in the day, they favored likes
mhm.
and retweets, and now they favor just more replies. Anything that has more replies is boosted.
Yeah,
And what gets replies? The stuff that's
exactly.
nasty. It's like a bad review. People are more likely to leave a bad review if they're mad
Hmm.
than a good review if they liked it.
That's true.
When people's really riled up, they want to go and post something nasty.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree with that. Overall, you were, going back to you were saying, oh, don't ban don't go to my web app because I criticize teachers or anything like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The one thing I
Don't
do,
avoid my
no,
app.
yeah, don't boycott. Uh, the one thing I wanted to say about that is everything is open for criticism, right? The teachers, AI, whatever, the government, whatever you want to say. And, if people are too sensitive to criticism, they should just not be a part of that industry, right? Because everyone has room to grow, right? And that's the reality. And the only way to grow is through constructive
Well,
criticism.
and I think that how do we keep healthy criticism going on about anything?
Yeah.
And you have to have the ability to legitimately say these people are wrong, and where's the line that people shouldn't cross between saying they're a bunch of dogs, they're a bunch of dirty dogs, they eat the babies,
Oh, not the babies.
let's kill them all.
Oh, the
I'm
babies.
serious. This lady was telling me at Seaforts. I'm sitting next to this woman last summer that I will not say who brought her here or what she was doing here. Very nice and seemingly intelligent woman telling me that Tom Hanks eats babies.
Which is how he got the role big, just so everyone knows.
Yeah, and I just thought, you're insane. You're insane. The same lady was telling me that I should give my kid bleach to cure her autism. I didn't want to go down the road of saying, okay, bleach tablets,
Did you
okay,
did
not
you
drink,
give
like,
them just too much Tylenol? Is that the problem?
but it's social media, she goes on the TikTok and listens to, I don't know, there's this woman that's been banned from most places that has put forth these theories that these pills with this chlorine is somehow, and there've been kids in ERs,
Oh yeah,
bleeding
no,
internally.
absolutely, because of the bleach.
She even sent me a book on it, and I
How does
wrote
a
back an
book of
email.
that
Well,
gets
thank you
published?
very much. It was self-published.
Self-published, yeah.
Published.
Hmm.
My kid does not is not going to be cured by bleach from autism. Or it's a neurological condition that has to do with the synapses or whatever. She lacks the power of speech because she has a physiological, issue
Right.
that's not going to be solved with bleach. And she has a wonderful life
Hmm.
speaking ASL and using text. She's kind of the joy of the family.
Yeah.
We're not looking to cure her from anything. She is who she is, and it wasn't caused by a vaccine. It wasn't,
Caused
it's
by
not going to be,
Tylenol.
it's not going to, it was not caused by Tylenol. We should never have Tylenol as a baby. Yeah, but these people will go on to TikTok, YouTube, whatever, and they see these influencers, and then they think I'm an expert in that now.
Hmm.
And it doesn't matter that you have this many years experience parenting a child with this condition,
Hmm.
that maybe you've talked to actual experts with medical degrees.
Hmm.
I mean, it's phenomenal how people get this sort of pseudo expertise from.
Right. And that's a very interesting point. Is how we as a society and China, which is one thing I actually do agree with, you are not allowed to be an influencer unless you have a bachelor's degree. Right. They say that specifically. You
In
cannot
China?
in China.
Really?
There's not very many things I agree with them, but I
Oh
do
yeah,
agree with this one,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because I can at least say, and I'm not saying that college is all the hype that it needs to be, but the one thing that you do learn is critical thinking and also sourcing your information,
yeah.
right? That's something they teach you if they're a good college.
Well, the
Yeah.
polarization of everything in the last, I don't know, 5 to 10 years
Hmm.
has led to where people only trust their sources.
Hmm.
Like,
Well, you
I
have to trust
trust
all
these
sources.
guys.
You have to trust,
Well,
or
I
not
try to
trust all
go to a
sources.
variety of news
Right.
sites just to kind of get the idea because they've turned into TMZ.
That's exactly it. And I don't mean to say trust all sources. You have to,
Ag-
you have to look of who is, who are the people that are funding the research, right?
yeah,
Because generally when it comes to research, the golden rule is who funds the research is how the research is going to go. Because there's really no such thing, at least in my opinion, especially social research, there's no such thing as pure research anymore. Unless you are a completely defunded schlop that decided to fund your own research, like I did with my own research, right? I actually did a research about homeless youth in Alaska,
oh
Anchorage,
wow.
Alaska, right? I did a qualitative, not qualitative, a quantitative, oh gosh dang it, a qualitative narrative inquiry, right? And it's not the best research, and I'll tell you that there's a lot of flaws with it, and anyone that can read it can easily tell there's flaws in my own research.
Still, that's
Yeah,
kind of a
that's my
noble
first,
topic to try to really get to the bottom of and
yeah,
try to
and I
spread
did.
awareness about.
Exactly. Unfortunately, I don't think the awareness would be on the boardroom, but
Mm.
I did this research by myself on my own, no research assistants, just me, cameras, writing my own report,
Oh yeah.
and interviewing the different participants that
Weren't
were
some of the
involved.
kids ones you had seen through your program?
No, no,
Okay.
I didn't want to do that because of my position of power,
Yeah.
right? Because I was really thinking about how do I want to go about this, and I wanted it to be neutral. I don't want to come out of this position of power. I'm here as a researcher,
Yeah.
right? And I've
Because you're a teacher. I don't know if
right.
you already.
Well,
Everybody that listens already knows that you're a teacher.
well, I try not to broadcast what I do. It's okay
Okay.
though.
Okay.
But it just comes down to is I wanted to make sure I was neutral because I looked at different researchers and how they have developed their own research in the past and what went wrong, right? And
Hmm.
with their own positions of power. And even though I don't subscribe to post-colonial thinking for the most part,
Hmm.
there is a concept of it with research justice that I did want to do, and
Hmm.
I do subscribe to. It's, having the participants being the forefront of the research and making sure that their stories and their lives matter and
Mhm.
that's something that wasn't really picked up until recently.
Did you kind of come to any kind of a conclusion about the majority of kids that are on the streets like that, that
Yes,
what the cause is?
yes, I
Is it
did.
mostly drugs?
Not yeah, yes and no. The problem is that I have a very when I did my research, I had no idea about the two participants, which is not a good sample size, by the way.
Mhm.
That's why because I only had 7 months to do this research,
Okay. Did you
right?
get a grant or anything?
No.
No. Oh, okay. Yeah,
I
so
did this.
self-funded.
It's self-funded.
Yeah.
Self-funded all in every way possible. And these two individuals, I did not know they were friends with each other until the very end
Oh, okay.
when I was writing my final draft. So there was significant limitations when it came to it. And
Was this for a master's or anything?
no, this was
Okay.
for my undergrad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I didn't.
That's noble to do that kind of level of research, like
Yeah,
for undergrad.
my
It's
professor
impressive.
said this is a master's level
Yeah.
thesis
Oh, I
over
would have
here.
thought that'd be higher level than that.
Yeah, well, for some reason I like to. It meant something to me at the time, and
Oh,
it still
it's
does.
phenomenal.
And I wanted to do something that would give back to the community.
Yeah.
And well, unfortunately, I didn't really get anywhere because, at the end of the day, I wanted the participants to be the ones holder of this information and what they want to do with it
Yeah.
and how they want to advocate. That's how I went about trying to do this research. From what I've gathered with the research, there's a lot of socioeconomical barriers,
Yeah.
religious barriers, sexuality barriers, transportation barriers, and institutionalized barriers too that they encountered. I mean, it's 86 pages. If you want, I'll give you a copy.
Wow.
But
No, I think that's incredible.
it's
Did either of them make it out?
yes,
Make it off the
yes. That's
street?
so that's the beautiful thing. This is your shout out Volunteers of Alaska. They actually sponsored my research as they let me use their client intel to get my pool of candidates,
Mm.
right? Which they did a wonderful job. I can ask for better partners. Desiree was a really great partner. She made it the hard part finding recruiting these people these at-risk youth to be part of this research, which I thought was wonderful.
Did it give you some ideas about like just the homeless situation at large? Because this is something that I mean I think we all talk about in Anchorage.
Hmm.
Everybody complains, the homeless, what do they do? But what actually is the great solution? Because these are human beings. You can't just there's not like, oh, move them there, move them here.
It's like
What's
Patrick,
the
let's just take them there and put them over
I mean,
there.
like I was talking to somebody just lately about, I wonder what the outreach to what's behind them. Like all these people have a mother, a father, a brother, a sister. I don't know. I mean, I know there's a lot of drug addiction, there's a lot of mental illness,
Hmm.
there's a lot of other issues.
Well, the
But
biggest
I wonder if
problem,
you could support the structures that might be able to be behind
well,
some
the
of these people.
structures is the issue too. From my
Yeah,
research, that
yeah.
is also the issue.
That the structures behind them are so broken.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about family. I'm talking about the family issue was bad, but the institutionalized structure was also bad.
Oh.
Like from my research, these two individuals were at Covenant House. They were also at the cold weather shelter, right? And they both described that they both still use drugs at these two places, right?
Yeah.
And the staff openly knew about the drug use and they didn't do anything about it.
Aren't they not supposed to use
No, they're not supposed
drugs?
to use drugs, but
Okay.
I don't know. It's the one is a matter of that the staff that cared about it, they generally got let go because I'm only imagining it's because they saw the hypocrisy, I would say is the best way to put it. They saw the hypocrisy within its own system and tried to challenge
Mhm,
it.
mhm,
Then they got fired pretty much right away after that or let go or
mhm.
told to leave. The second part about it too is also that they're understaffed as well.
Mhm.
So they don't have enough staff to actually be able to manage the amount of homelessness that happens with these at-risk youth. And even then I would classify I and this is my own personal bias. I'm a lot more sympathetic to at-risk youth that are homeless than I am to the adult homeless population.
Mhm.
And when I mean by that, I go by the standard of the definition of a homeless youth, which is between 16 to 25, right?
Mhm.
That's the standard definition of
Mhm.
it. And I feel more bad for them because generally kids that go on the street, it's not a matter of choice,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
With the adults that are out there, there are people that down and out of their luck, and I completely
Mm,
sympathize with that.
mhm,
I think there's people that choose to be homeless as well,
mm,
right? Because they don't want to go into a lifestyle where they can't have their own autonomy, even if it's destructive,
mhm.
right? And that's the biggest issue. So if you ask me right now, what is the solution to homelessness?
Mm.
I don't know.
I wonder if
I
we
truly
could
don't know.
study. I wonder if there's anywhere that's really found a decent solution, like the
I know they work.
Netherlands or Norway or one of those really,
Not
nice
as far
countries
not
where
as far as I
everyone lives
noticed.
well, and
And I've researched a lot
Japan,
of
I don't
homelessness.
know, New Zealand. I wonder if you did a comprehensive study, and I just haven't researched this myself, but I wonder if there's some methods that we could adopt from some of the other places. There has to be a better way, but I
There's
think it's going to take a lot of money.
it's going to take a lot of money and people don't want to put money
And
into it.
if we get 20% unemployment, all that's going to happen is it's going to explode because the cost of housing is already terrible everywhere. The
Hmm.
cost of housing is terrible here.
Yeah,
Terrible.
it's absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that there needs to be more trauma-informed care. I think that's the biggest portion of
What
it.
exactly is trauma informed care?
So being able to understand their life and be able to adapt and comprehend what they're going through
Mhm.
and having the skills to be able to, pretty much manage
So
their,
more social
yeah,
workers or
social workers,
yeah,
essentially social workers
sure.
working there using those trauma-informed care
I have to say
modalities.
that in Midtown, which has generally been one of the kind of hotbeds of homeless activity,
Hmm.
in the last 10 years, it doesn't seem quite as bad this
It's
winter.
because there
The
has been
cold.
policy. No, it's not the cold. There's been policies is that if you are in the street camping, you will be arrested
Oh,
and you
okay.
will be taken to a shelter where you will undergo
I mean, it was
drug treatment.
interrupting a lot of poor businesses that just trying to have a restaurant there. And then
Yeah.
you've got people permanently having their like midday party in their, especially in the summer.
Yeah.
And that's just not fair to the businesses.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to say I have a solution. And I have a lot of empathy for people that are mentally ill and that are trying to get through these substance abuse issues, but I don't know what they could do. But they can't stay there.
I
And
mean, this could be
you
the
know,
fall of civilization when Rome was at its end. The homelessness of Rome increased dramatically.
really.
And that's what overturned Rome is because the homelessness got tired of it and they went after the monarchy at the time.
Well, I think it's going to be more like Mad
And
Max.
Mad Max. I mean,
It's
look.
the Mad Maxization. I mean, if you end up with 20-30% unemployment in this country,
Mhm.
I think you're going to see these tech bros turn into Mad Maxers. These tech bros that are unemployed. I don't know. I don't know. But I think Alaska, at least we're far enough away
Yeah.
from, I think Alaska is kind of well situated.
Hmm. Yeah, and I would agree with that too.
Plus, they don't want to ride their dune buggies with their, cut off shirts here. We have that. We don't even have sand,
We
right?
don't even have sand,
We don't even have
man.
sand.
They're gonna use the.
I do not like Mad Max. My husband has watched, I think there's like four of them.
That's
There's
where.
so many Mad Maxes. They're terrible movies.
Oh, come
They're
on.
terrible.
They're not
They're
terrible.
terrible. How Mel Gibson got famous from that, I do not know.
That's his start.
No, I know.
Yeah, I mean,
I was astonished.
he probably ate some
The
Mad
worst
Max
movie.
babies, and that's how he got famous because he got the
It might have
role.
been. It might have been because
Yeah,
he doesn't come off as particularly handsome, charming, or anything.
he's a
Just seems,
cop.
just seems like a buffoon.
Oh,
Yes.
tragedy.
And the one with Chris Hemsworth is just terrible. He's got like a prosthetic
Oh,
nose. You're gonna put a
that's some
prosthetic nose on Chris
fouls. That's some
Hemsworth?
fouls right there.
It's terrible.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Bernie Sanders was talking about it. He's really a big critic of AI taking over job infrastructure.
But it's like trying to stop a hurricane. It is,
You can't.
and it's not that. It's just like standing at a waterfall thinking you can stop the water. AI is here,
Yeah,
and those are terrible analogies. It's just here.
it's
It
true.
is here. You cannot stop AI. To
No.
tell companies you can't use that. You We went to Taco Bell the other day. Taco Bell AI. The
Yeah,
first, the person that asks you for your order
yeah,
is now way friendlier because they're AI.
yeah, yeah.
And now there's the one person that gives you your food. I guess they still need a human for that. They have taken away that job.
There
And
is.
that is going to keep happening.
Here's a really cool thing. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there is a social media platform only for AI
I
agents.
read about that. I don't even get that.
So it's
Where they
pretty,
talk to each
they
other?
talk to each other now.
That's just all probabilistic sort of text garbage. There's
Maybe.
no emotion there. There's no anything.
Oh, I don't
That's
know.
just
I don't know.
garbage upon garbage. I don't know.
There's this new
Do they innovate? I guess
they
because they could.
do.
Yeah, they
They are
could.
actually talking to each other, and they were specifically talking about,
No, they have no emotions, right? They have no
well, they don't have
emotions. They
emotions
don't have
based on art
consciousness. They don't have emotions.
yet. Yet. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Yet.
but
And
that's a ways off.
I mean, I don't know, because AI, the way I see it, is that the more we let them integrate with each other and they're speaking to each other, they're going to become more
They're just looping
autonomous.
algorithms. There's no autonomy. It's just
We
code.
don't know that right now, though. I mean, here's the deal with that is
I
that
think that's fear mongering. I think
I
the
only,
idea that you're going to generate consciousness from just sort of an interplay of looping codes that look for it's just a branch, if
what is
this,
our
then
brain
that.
if not
It
that?
just keeps branching because we've got organic matter and
We have
like a
organic.
soul. Okay, are they going to spin up a soul? Maybe we're talking about consciousness.
Okay,
You realize
so
they haven't actually figured out what consciousness truly is. When I say they, I don't
AI,
know, like they know, like the scientists, like
right? Well, if we look at this as AI as a right now, it's a tool, right? That is what it is right now. We watch all science fiction films, and the AI eventually turns into
like Ultron,
Skynet,
Ultron and
Skynet or
Marvel.
something, right? And that's why I kind of wonder is like, is that going to be the future? Or is it just going to be a tool for the rest of our lives? Because AI is, even though it is an algorithm right now, they're smarter than most human beings these days.
No, they're not.
You don't think so?
They're so flaming dumb on some issues. I yell at them
Do
on a
you?
regular basis. Oh
Do
yeah,
you?
yeah. I mean, it's hard not to get into the technical weeds here, but
Yeah.
my app runs on a port. Port number is 8001. 8001. Nothing changes. It's always on 8001. On the regular, they try to start it up on 8000. This is a daily thing. They try to reboot it. They don't need to reboot it. I tell it I have hot reload, which means if you make changes to the code, it picks it up on port 8001. Every day they try to put it on 8000. Every day they make the same mistakes over and over again because they don't have a brain. They don't have like the working memory that you and I have. They don't even keep track of what they've done for you. They have to reread your file system.
Hmm,
The idea that they have a brain is just really wrong.
interesting.
Yeah, I think the more you work with them, the dumber you see that they are. They're
That's
like an
mostly right. Yeah.
encyclopedia. They're just like an encyclopedia that can make combinations of itself all
Hmm.
the time, but they don't possess the ability to truly think.
Interesting.
It's just mimicking thinking.
Right.
And they are dumber than the dumbest human right now. But
Are they
they're
wearing
in,
Crocs?
they're
Do
in,
you think the AI is
they are
wearing
definitely
Crocs?
wearing Crocs, but they're encyclopedic knowledge. But they have encyclopedias.
Yeah.
They have access to everything inside the encyclopedia, and they can put together amazing things by you know, combining tidbits. They
Hmm.
can create the Mona Lisa, through because they've got all the tidbits. It's an algorithmic creation,
Sure.
but it's not the genius of some painter that actually conceived it. They also don't keep your entire app in mind when they code for you. You
Mm,
ask it to do a job and it does this little slice over here. But I found my app was littered with the worst syntax imaginable.
mm,
I put this horrible memory burden, and they just kept adding more and more and more and more of the same thing because it worked, because it made it work
interesting.
quickly. But a human being would have been like, "What are you doing? You can't do that. You can't use those memory intensive little calls like that." So I just after using nonstop AI for 6 months to help code this app that I'm making, I actually have more faith in human beings, not less.
Oh, well, that's good.
You know?
Some of us should have faith in human beings.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be so scared yet. I think there's a lot of fear mongering.
Yeah.
And I think the idea that they're going to be conscious, the idea that they are going to like get a soul.
So do you think that's not a possibility?
I don't know. That's not my area, but I
Sure.
know it's no. I think they would have to merge it with something biologic. I
Interesting.
think just data bits are not going to spin
Well,
into
Elon Musk
anything.
is trying to make the chip that can integrate with your brain. I think he actually put that in his own brain right now.
Oh, I don't know, man. Elon Musk, he's a whole category. You could do a whole podcast just on that
I'm
guy.
sure you could.
Know enough about what he's doing. I mean, I just have the very layman view of Elon. I don't like what he's done with Twitter. I
No.
don't. I think great. He took away the shadow banning, but what he did was he replaced a really lovely self-publishing platform with a little where a little guy like you or a little app developer like me could have a little feed and get the word out about what we were doing and make friends with a few people who would also get the word out. That's gone.
Yeah.
Now, if I talk about wanting to murder you and that because you and I share political animosity, that will get clicks.
Yeah.
That will get spread. If I
Sure.
tell a story about how I saw somebody get their head cut off, that will get, you know.
Yeah.
It's I don't think it's a very good algorithm running Twitter right now.
Right.
So
That makes sense. Well, do you have anything you want to say to the audience before we sign out?
no, no, this has been a lot of fun. My app will be live in the next month, maybe
Mm.
2 months. I've got some kind of final things to do at kwippe,
Mhm.
kwippe.com, and you will be able to hopefully build just about anything from a Spotify clone to your wedding app or wedding website to a personal blog or, you know, business page.
Yeah,
Anything you need, I hope that we'll be able to do.
absolutely. And
And better
how
than what's
many
being done right now.
how many
God
private
willing.
beta testers are you going to have? Have they been selected? Can
No,
you?
I will have a beta sign up, a beta kind of invitation sign up, and anybody that signs up on the website next week, like or whenever, I'll
Mhm.
probably put that up in the next week,
Yeah.
and then anybody that signs up will be invited to join the private beta.
Okay. And how many people are you pulling for the private beta?
I don't know. I haven't really set a number.
Fair
I'll
enough.
have to ask Harry. No, just kidding.
Well,
Have to ask
you
AI.
should absolutely give me the link later to your private
I
beta so
will.
I can attach the description
Well,
of
just at
this
kwippe.com, kwippe.com.
for all your AI needs.
Yeah, for all your app needs.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this episode.
You are welcome.
Alaska, take care and keep on babbling.